Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Saffanah Mauriska Khansa, student number 2019-05-10-241 from International Program of International Relations would explain you here about Islamic Transnational Movement Al-Qaeda. Firstly, background. History of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is an international terrorist organization founded in 1988 by Osama bin Laden on Abdullah Azam's first idea. It was a network of logistical support and weapons for Muslims opposing the Soviet Union, and its name means base or network. Born in July 1957, Osama bin Laden is descendant of a successful Yemeni contractor family in Saudi Arabia. His father, Muhammad Awad bin Laden, taught him in the field of religion. Osama bin Laden also studied in college with Muhammad Qutb, the brother of Islamic reformer Sayyid Qutb, and Abdullah Azam, a Palestinian cleric and one of the founders of Afghanistan's anti-Soviet jihad. Abdullah Azam, on the other hand, was expelled from King Abdul Aziz University in Saudi Arabia, where he taught until 1979 for teaching radical Islam. After it was decided that he would no longer teach, one of the academics who was born in Palestine decided to migrate to Pakistan. Abdullah Azam and Osama bin Laden established an office of service, or Maktab al-Khidamat, in 1984 as a shelter for Muslim troops fighting the Soviet Union in the Afghanistan War. Is a non-governmental organization that accommodates Muslim fighters who fought the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and also organization that brings together troops from across the Arab world and beyond, as well as managing the funding of Afghan war troops. Osama bin Laden and Abdullah Azam began to consider what to do in 1988 as the Soviet Union occupation came to an end, and how to take advantage of the structured network of Islamic volunteers. From here, Osama bin Laden and Abdullah Azam differences of opinion began. It is struggle that Osama intends to fight on the global scale. Azam, on the other hand, disagrees. He wants to focus his effort on turning Afghanistan into an Islamic state. Unfortunately, he was killed in the car bombing in Pakistan in 1989, becoming Osama bin Laden, the group's head. As we know, in Al-Qaeda there are important founding figures such as Osama bin Laden and the teacher Abdullah Azam, but it turns out that after investigating more deeply, there are still many figures who strengthen the Al-Qaeda movement. Here are some of the Qaeda figures who plays a significant role. First one, Abdullah Azam. Also known as Dr. Abdullah Yusuf Azam was born in the village of Silat al-Harithiyah in Palestine in 1941 when Afghanistan was attacked by the Soviet Union in the 1980s. His figure was known as Jihadist movement. Abdullah Azam is a role model for radical Muslim and is considered as a pioneer of international jihad. Second is Ayman al-Zawahiri, was born in Cairo, Egypt in June 1951. Muhammad Rabi al-Zawahiri, his father, was a pharmacology professor. Ayman al-Zawahiri portrays Sayyid Qutb, an Egyptian radical Islamic reformer, as a role model since he was a child. Ayman al-Zawahiri left Egypt in 1985 and met Osama bin Laden in Peshawar, Pakistan. A year later, following the meeting, there was mutual interest in radical Islamic group, resulting in the formation of the partnership between the two. With Ayman al-Zawahiri's talent and experience in politics and organization, the Egyptian-born figure will play a significant role in Al-Qaeda organization process. And the last, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, with the real name Fadil Nazal al-Khalayal was born in Jordanian city of Zarqa on October 20, 1966. He is descendant of the Bedouin tribe Bani Hassan. He changed his name to Abu Musab al-Zarqawi in 2000. The process of training Al-Qaeda began when the organization founding group Jama'at Tahwid wa Ijihad decided to join on October 2004 and changed its name to Tanzim Qaidat al-Jihadi fi Bilad al-Rafidain or Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is a powerful figure since he was a founder of a group that would eventually become a rival of Al-Qaeda, uh, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria or ISIS. Here is the ideology of the Al-Qaeda. The Al-Qaeda movement is a political movement with strong jihad ideology and the establishment of an Islamic caliphate is an absolute must. Also, some research argue that Al-Qaeda is ideology and well-known global brand that use terrorism as a tactic to achieve its objectives. Terrorism is used as a genre of symbolic communication rather than a military tactic that has been used by other groups throughout history. The ideology, which is based on the writings of Sayyid Qutb, Abdul Azam, and Abu Muhammad al-Maqdisi, rejects pluralism and democracy in order to portray an Islamic world under siege by the West. The only solution, according to ideologies, is for a vanguard of Muslim to mobilize the entire world, a Muslim world to rise up and destroy the West and the apostate regimes that support its true violent jihad until every country in the Middle East is ruled by Islamic law. The following is about a research question whose answer will be discussed in the next chapter. First one, what was the role of Al-Qaeda in the September 11 or 9/11 action? The second, how big is the influence of Al-Qaeda acts of terrorism with the development of Islam or Muslim in the world? The events of 21 years ago, the tragedy of September 11, 2001, also known as 9/11 tragedy, have captivated the world attention until this day. The World Trade Center WTC Twin Tower in New York City were destroyed in terrorist attack, and the terrorist organization Al-Qaeda has been widely suspected of being the mastermind behind the attack. The incident resulted in 2,977 deaths, nearly 3,000 injuries, more than 25,000 hospitalizations, and other long-term health issues. Not only that, but the city of New York suffered damage to infrastructure and property worth up to $10 billion. The events of 9/11 are widely regarded as the deadliest single terrorist attack in human history. 9/11 was also the deadliest incident for firefighters and authorities in the United States, with 3,043 and 72 deaths. Terrorists from Al-Qaeda also aimed to attack the Pentagon, the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense. This base is a symbol of American military might. Al-Qaeda hopes that by attacking the symbols of American power, it will instill fear throughout the country and weaken the U.S. position in international community. Al-Qaeda, best known for the motivation behind Osama bin Laden's attack blames the United Nations and its allies for causing conflict in the Muslim world. So, I want to tell you about 9/11 chronology of events. At the day, 4 U.S. commercial planes were hijacked by a total of 19 people. This plane will fly to the west coast of the United States. At 9:45 a.m. local time on September 11, 2001, an American Airlines Boeing 767 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York. A gaping, burning hole near the 18th floor was left by collision, trapping several Americans. Not long after the evacuation, another plane crashed into the VTC, splitting the South Tower near the 16th floor. The two collisions caused a large explosion and debris to fall as a result of the collision. Then, and at night at 9:45 a.m. local time, American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into Pentagon's military headquarters on the west side. As a result, 125 military and civilian personnel were killed. It didn't end there. After 15 minutes later, the terrifying event of September 11, 2001 struck New York once more. The south and the north VTC tower collapsed, causing a dust storm in the vicinity of the building. The September 11 attack raised the urgency of the United States anti-Al-Qaeda effort. Although U.S. officials claim that the post-March 11 battle against Al-Qaeda employs all of the U.S. national aspects, including legal, economic, diplomatic, and military capabilities, the military effort in Afghanistan remains the cornerstone of the U.S. post-September 11 effort. Through this issue, the United States is campaigning to the World International Organization to support and collaborate with the United States in the fight against terrorism and its global networks. The U.S. anti-terrorism campaign has sparked tension between the Islamic world and the West. The U.S. military policy of military arrogance toward people of Afghanistan, Iraq, and other Middle Eastern regions claiming countless civilian casualties from Muslims. According to survey, 73% of Muslims in America face difficulties in their home country. Muslim women who wear hijab or head scarf are bullied. So some Muslim women prefer to stay at home at the time. Others meanwhile temporarily discontinue at work. According to New York Imam Masjid Islamic Center prior to 9/11 tragedy, they were unconcerned about Islam or even their own religion. That then, following 9/11 tragedy, there was a surge in interest in learning more about Muslim in many parts of the world, including in the United States. So the conclusion is, based on the explanation above, is it possible to conclude that the formation of Al-Qaeda is based on a very long history, beginning with the formation of a war troop and progressing to becoming a terrorist group target around the world. We can see that those who contribute are not random individuals, but rather well-known and influential individuals. Even though Al-Qaeda terrorism movement has sparked many debates, in my view, terrorist acts carried out by Al-Qaeda have caused more harm to Muslims themselves. For instance, Muslims who were harmed by the U.S. campaign are always associated with Islamic movement. The situation has resulted in the development of phobia of Muslims, particularly in the Western world, creating the perception that Islam or Muslim is synonymous with terrorism. Although the goal of terror appears to protect Muslims, it is ineffective due to the long-term consequences. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.